Mr. Crushion Stubbs.
Thank you all for coming out. It's good to see you all here. So I'm going to start with just engaging you all with a thought. Outside of death, what would you say is the greatest fear for people? If you thought public speaking, you're absolutely right. Trust me, I was nervous back there and so were they. But why does this fear hold such power over us? It's simple. Communication is the lifeblood of success. So as an introvert myself, while incarcerated, I realized that if I was to make a successful reintegration back into society, I needed to come out of my shell and actually discover my voice. My first step was enrolling in a public speaking program known as Toastmasters, where I challenged myself to embrace the awkwardness, lean into the discomfort, until I actually found my rhythm. Trusting that my message would find its way to the right ears, your ears. Here it is, I had discovered my authentic voice in the very place where voices go to be buried. And yet when I found that power, I wasn't quite sure what to do with it. My friends and family, they had their own thoughts. You should talk about your experience inside. No. You should share your insights on gun violence and reentry, those real issues. Who? Me? Oh, heck no. After all that time I just did, when I get out, I don't want to think about prison. I don't want to talk about prison. Hell, I don't even want to say words that begin with the letter P. I didn't want to speak about prison, let alone I didn't want to wear it on my chest like some Superman sign. But when I got out, lo and behold, the joke was on me. Because with or without a P on my chest, I actually learned that society had already placed an X on my back. It's a scarlet letter of a felony record, which to this day follows me around like a pesky mosquito at a nudist camp. Intent on just biting me with discrimination, job rejection. Uber Eats even denied me because I had a record. I'm like, really? What did you think I was going to do? Breaking in into someone's pizza order? Assault their French fries? Kidnap their Dr. Pepper? It was this pettiness and this discrimination that actually moved me from once engaged to fully engaged, trying to shine a light on the fact that a felony record is the most horrible gift because it just keeps on giving. Coincidentally, the vocabulary needed to do this kind of work, I actually picked up as a child, growing up in Chicago. Let me explain. Whenever I wanted candy money, my grandfather used to negotiate with me. You want some money, huh? Okay, I tell you what. I give you 25 cents for every newspaper article you read aloud. Genius move, right? Because it was that first initial step that made me fall in love with words. And of course, candy money for lemon heads and Donkey Kong. But it was my mother who had the biggest impact on me. She started decorating the house. She called it decorating for success. She would plaster the staircase with her degrees and her achievements, making it so that every time I walked up the stairs, each step reminded me of her dreams and aspirations for me. And at the very top stood an empty picture frame on the wall. Her never missing an opportunity to remind me, oh yeah, it's your job to fill it graduated with your high school diploma. So you can imagine how defeated I felt when I learned that I might not graduate on time from high school because of some missing credits. Panic, right? Nah, I did what any smart teenager would do. I hatched a plan straight out of a sitcom. I said, look, check this out. This is me talking to myself. So, Chicago schools have to be far more advanced than these downstate ones, right? So maybe if I could convince my grandmother to let me live with her in Georgetown, which is just 45 minutes away from here, then I'll be where the grass is greener and hopefully the homework's easier. Spoiler alert, it actually worked. When I got there, I actually did my thing in them classrooms. They were like, you're not from here. I was like, no, I'm not. And so I handled my business in taking care of that schoolwork. Because I wanted to prove a point. That little minor setback was just a stepping stone for my comeback. So when I finally graduated and got that diploma, I so happily handed it over to my mother as if it was made of gold. I'm like, oh. She gave me the honor of hanging it up. So I hung it up. But I wanted to catch her in the middle of it. So I turned around just to see that fulfilled smile on her face. That's when she whipped out another empty picture frame. Now fill this one with a college degree from me, son. Just when I thought I was out, she pulled me back in. She's quick too. So armed with new marching orders, I enrolled in the local community college. In 1993, as an 18-year-old high school graduate, full-time employed college student, life for me was like an open road, paved with promise and possibility. And yet, I didn't realize that a plot twist, a devastating proportions lurked just around the corner. You see, my grandmother's house was the hottest spot in town. For burglaries, that is. Behind it all, my uncle's drug-addicted friend who lived 2 doors down. In what seemed like a blink of an eye, they turned my grandmother's house into their own personal shopping mall. Each stolen item felt like a blow to our sense of safety and security. And yet, my grandmother was taking it real easy. Rather than call the police, she chose prayer over actually action in addressing this danger. Being from Chicago, I had a different take on this one. I said, look, Grandma, I love the fact that you got a heart of gold. But Grandma, they're robbing you of your gold, your diamonds, and everything else in this house. Heck, I got a studio in my bedroom. What's to say they're not going to take that next? Her reply, well, we'll just have to see what happens. I tell you what, let's get a bolt lock for your bedroom door. Huh? Because nothing quite says security like a bolt lock, huh? She missed the point entirely, nor did she grasp how as her grandson, I felt a heavy responsibility to protect her. I already felt guilty for leaving her vulnerable overnight because I had to work 3rd shift. But as fate would have it, one early Monday morning, I returned home to a scene of devastation. The front door stood wide open, a sign of the chaos that awaited me inside. I cautiously stepped in to discover that my bedroom door, the one fortified with that bolt lock, had been rammed open, hanging from the one hinge that chose not to give. I called out in concern, calling my grandmother. Grandma, are you okay? What happened? I don't know. I came home and saw it like this. I didn't know if someone was still inside. Make sure nothing's missing. Surveying the damage to my room, as if a tornado had hit, anger began to boil within me. All the contents in my room laid to waste. My studio equipment, gone. Everything rifled through. I checked my hiding spot to see if they took the money that I had saved up. It was still there. I clutched onto it like a lifeline. But as I looked around, taking it all in, warm water began to fall from my eyes as anger began to rise up in my chest. And though my legs felt weak, I ran right around the corner to my friend's house, seeking some type of understanding. Like, why is this happening to me? My friend sympathized with me, revealing that the same dude had tried to sell him a gun plus items he had stolen from us last week. Did they get your money too? Checking my pockets to make sure they ain't robbed me while I was standing there. Nah, they didn't get it. But we gonna get that gun. She doesn't want to call the police. They keep stealing. What else can I do? At least if they know I got the gun in the house to protect it, ain't no way they coming in after that, I promise you. And with that desperate, rash, and unwise decision, I handed my buddy the money and we walked over there. Now standing face to face with the one who had brought darkness to my doorstep, as my buddy pays him, he arrogantly brags on about how easy it was to steal a gun. Oh, and if you want another, I can steal another for you. The audacity of this dude saying this in my face arrogantly after he had just violated me in our home. Man, when they passed that gun around and placed it in my hand to see if I approved of the purchase, impulsively I snapped immediately, recklessly pulling the trigger. Boom! In a fraction of a second, I had foolishly given in to my own anger, forever altering the course of my life and changing both of our families to feel all this pain, not just that morning, but forevermore. Before I was sentenced, the judge leveled with me. Mr. Stubbs, by all accounts, you were living a good life. You graduated high school, were working full time, you were in college. And had you caught this man in your house in the act, we'd possibly be talking about probation here. But because you went to him after the fact, I must sentence you to far more time. 45 years. Boom! Wow. That gavel hit harder than Thor's hammer. It meant I wasn't going anywhere, at least not for the next quarter of a century. Ultimately, I did 23 years, plus 4 more, equaling 27 years total inside of prison, plus 3 years of supervised release. And so when I talk to kids today, you know the first thing they say to me is, that's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to jail. I'm not doing anything wrong. Oh, to be young and dumb. You know, I offer them my story to illustrate that you don't have to be a troubled kid just to get in trouble, kid. I wasn't in any trouble before this. You could be doing all the right things, and still trouble may find you. The difference is the decisions you make. That is going to make the difference. I had to explain this to a young man just the other day. He came up to me upset. Mr. Crushion, you just don't understand. They be hating on me at school. I got ops. I say, yeah, I know. I know you got ops. You got options and opportunities that you need to be optimistic about. Nah, I'm saying they keep trying to bully me. I know, they bullied me and my grandmother. Yeah, but I ain't no punk though. I know you're not. You just upset, just like I was. But do you really think answering them with violence is the way to go? Listen here, shorty, if you even contemplating forfeiting your life, just forget that? Man, just forget that. Do not destroy your whole life over an emotion like I did. Just because things are going wrong don't mean you got to go with it. You always have a choice. Like when they shackled me up and marched me into that maximum security prison. I had a choice. I could allow my situation to break me or shape me. You already know which path I chose. I spent every day of each decade in there reading, writing, developing, growing myself to ensure that I came out better than when I first entered. And though sadly, my mother passed away just 6 years into my sentence, I made sure to uphold her vision of me in excellence. I immersed myself in education in prison. I devoured books one by one. And when I ran out, I got a job in the library. Taking every college program they had inside. To the point, they told me, hey, you only got a limit. You can only take so much. I said, okay, well, can I become a GED tutor? So I gave back to the other students in there. Constantly learning, feeding my mind. Which is why upon arrival to this area, I eagerly pitched the idea of me sharing my hard-earned lessons with local schools, nonprofit organizations, and youth programs. I also seized the opportunity at Parkland to take the one biology class I needed to graduate. Proudly receiving my associate degree in 2022. But you know what? As good as it felt, it wasn't enough. Not for my mother. I know she's somewhere with an empty picture frame looking like. So I just kept on going. By actually applying to and successfully getting accepted into the University of Illinois here in Urbana-Champaign. And I'm now a current student and communications major.
Yeah.
I work with the Education Justice Project, making this all feel like full circle to me. I'm back on the college campus. But this time, I'm allowing people to follow my footsteps, my fellow returning citizens, to really reach their dream in seeking in higher education. And do you know, sometimes I ask myself, why me? The only reply I can keep coming up with is, why not you? I guess when you've fallen so hard like I have, you tend to be an advocate of helping people stand up at any cost. But like I was telling you, when I reached here, I tried to give back. This is my new community. Hey, I reached out to local schools, I reached out to these nonprofits, I reached out to these youth programs, and I thought I would get like the red carpet out. Like, hey, this dude has got this lived experience, he can actually feed the minds of these young kids, and that way they got an example in front of them. But instead, hell, I was met with reluctance, I was met with a brick wall. The harsh reality that they didn't want to embrace my voice. Instead, they wanted to discount it because they didn't see any value in it nor me. But why? I once heard it explained like this. As Americans, we're so great at recycling, right? We can ensure that these plastic bottles get a second chance at life. Wow. And yet, you can't do the same for me? So you mean to tell me my garbage gets a chance to be of use to society again, but not a human? I mean, somebody please explain this to me. How we as a people can unanimously say, yes, it's the right thing to restore plastic and pop cans and everything else, but those humans, no. How can we do that? This is garbage and it's considered no good. And you can give it a second life. But a human who is often mislabeled as no good, you can't give a second chance. How do each of us contribute to this societal attitude of those with felony records? Being throwaway people, restricting and hindering our ability to rebuild our lives, which in turn perpetuates a cycle of recidivism. I only ask because I encountered this 2 years ago, pushing the bill to legislators to open the gates of estate equity for those with felony records. Fun fact, I had never been to the state capitol before. I mean, I'm fresh out of being condemned to bylaw. Now I'm standing here where laws are made. I feel out of place like a mug. But y'all should have seen me. I had my little slacks on, had my one-pagers, came down there with a team. I'm talking to state representatives, these senators, as if I worked there. But this is where it gets interesting. They've got an usher that stands outside of the chambers where they meet to make sure no one just walks in while they're in session. He takes notice. There's a whole team of us with these t-shirts on, and we deep. Oh yeah. So he says, hey buddy, come here. Who are you guys? And what's your bill about? I tell him it's an amendment to a law that declares if you have a felony record, you can't serve as the executor of your own mother's will or any loved one. He said, what? He said, hold on, am I hearing you correct? I explained to him a little further. He said, that's just wrong. Why should my mother have to pay for my past mistakes? Yeah. That doesn't sound right. So let me see that one pager. He reads it. He says, well, darn, this is a pretty good bill. I can't argue against it. But it shouldn't apply to everyone, you know? Yeah? Explain. You know, certain crimes like murder or violence. I say, you don't say. Go on. Eventually, I dropped the bombshell. You know, I was once convicted of murder. You mean to tell me you would deny my grandmother the right to choose her grandson to meet out her last wishes? His eyes got bucked like a deer. Well, hold on now. He started stuttering and stammering and said, well, look here. I didn't mean people like you. I mean, you're one of the good ones. I said, oh, I'm one of the good ones. Whatever that means. He continued tripping over his words, running down exceptions to the rule. But you gotta consider this. But what about this? But I want to ask the man, are you related to Sir Mix-a-Lot? Because it's clear you like big butts and you cannot lie. What am I saying, people? Maybe some of you here hold these same judgments that certain people should be eligible, but other people, I would challenge you to be introspective and ask yourself, where does this mind state come from? And can I change it to realize the humanity in these people? We didn't come from Mars. We're returning citizens. That means we were here before. We're just returning. We got to challenge this mindset to be more inclusive. You know, yesterday's shadow shouldn't dim today's light. My past doesn't define me, it refines me. Yet I've encountered these same dismissive vibes in this area when I'm trying to be a beacon of hope to our youth. These messages should actually be in the schools, but they won't let us in. Because we illustrate the harsh realities and long-term consequences of making the wrong decisions, hanging with the wrong people, doing the wrong thing. This is a cautionary tale for these children. Yeah. But often we can't even get into the schools because of our record, which they often deem as too much of a risk. But what's the alternative? To not say anything? Isn't that risking far more lives? We gotta come to the realization, as Tamika said, those closest to the problem are closest to the solution. Now, what does that mean? Because I'm here, I'm the solution. No, what it means is I, Crushion, can actually be the best advocate for anti-gun violence because of my experience with it. I mean, if you really got a program and you really trying to make community change, my question is, why aren't you employing Shamar, Tamika, Harvester, or me? We're your community's human resources. We've successfully graduated from serving time to serving minds. Connecting with these kids. Yeah, I make mistakes just like you. Oh, I thought I was the only one. Principal keep talking about me. I made mistakes like you. I've done the things you've done. You're not alone. I'm an example that you can change. You're not forever throwaway. You're not forever a mistake no matter what they tell you. But people still hold this. And I mean, if you look at me and you're that short-sighted, you may say, oh, it's just another felon talking. But those who know me well and the work I do, know I'm a walking affirmation who just happened to be on probation. And in 9 days, even that'll be over. Yeah, after 30 long years of being under the thumb of authority and supervision since I was a teen, those strings will soon be cut in just a little over a week. I'm not just breaking free of their invisible leash, I'm breaking barriers. I'm coming into myself, walking fully into my truth, turning my mess into my message. So I can show these youth that you can overcome these hurdles. If you fall down and stumble, get back up. As long as you land on your back, you can see up. Get up. And I'm also there to be an example, to show that these decisions you make or these peer pressure choices you make as a teen, don't think, oh, I'm just going to get probation. That stuff will follow you until you're a middle-aged adult like me. And I can say that because that's my truth. That's my life. Now, do I have all the answers? Heck no. That's Google. But I do know, better than to think there's a one-size-fits-all type of fix going on around here. You can't just choose one solution over another. Well, no, I've got the right thing. Fund our program. Now, I'm not that arrogant like that. I know we need all hands on deck to make this a better Champaign Urbana. So what does that mean? It means I'm open to collaboration. I don't want to be on some throne. I also don't want to do it alone.
Right.
Honestly, I just want to be Jerome. Y'all know who Jerome is, right? He was just here months ago at the Credit Center. But for all my culturally challenged people and my young people, Jerome Benton is a member of the 80s musical group, The Time, who often, in performances, will hold up a mirror, something like this, to give his bandmate, Morris Day, the opportunity to fix himself, to better himself, to actually get himself together so that he wouldn't remain in a state of disorder. And I hope that's what we did here for you today, people. Allow you to see the best in you so you can know that your problems look minor and small compared to what we had to go through. You upset and exhausted of this 8-hour day that you had to put in? It looks minor compared to the 8 years Tamika had to put in. You sitting here complaining to your buddies, look, they hating on me. I posted this thing on Facebook and look at them in the comments. Imagine if you had the federal government hating on you for a Facebook page, like Shamar did. We came up here to tell our stories to empower you, so you realize, oh, these are fights I don't have to fight. I should actually feel good about who I am. We invited you also to see your own capacity of resilience. You know, you often come after these speeches, well, how did you get through what you went through? We're showing you that you can get through what you're going through. We're telling you that all you need to do is tap into your inner resilience in your own time of need. I mean, to quote another singer, if you want to make the world a better change, take a look at yourself and make a change. And that's what we did, people. That's what we did. And we invited you here today so that you could do the same. We support you. So take a look at yourself, family, and make that change. Everyone have a blessed evening. Thank you.
All right, let's stand on up and give a round of applause to all the presenters and speakers tonight. All we can do is we need some more. Yeah. We'd like to thank you all for attending the event, all the speakers, and you all did a great, amazing job. The work that you put in on yourself, the pieces to the puzzles that you put together to make this thing come together, to you to step into your purpose, to step into the work that you do. We really, really appreciate it. It reminds me of a story, I ain't gonna take too long, but it reminds me of a story of a young kid was getting in trouble in school. His father came home and said, look here, man, give me all your electronics, everything. You're gonna do something a lot more constructive with your life. The kid said, constructive, what you talking about? The father goes to Toys R Us. He goes out there, he's looking for a puzzle. He said, I'm gonna find you a puzzle, and when you get done putting the puzzle together, then you get your electronics back. Because in his mind, he think he's gonna have the puzzle together. It's gonna probably take him about a month to put this puzzle together. So he goes to see his first puzzle. And on the first puzzle, it's on the cover of it's a lion, tiger, and Just want to make sure you're paying attention. So there's a lion, tiger, and a bear. He said, no, that's going to be too easy. So he go down and see another puzzle. It's a prehistoric puzzle. Got the dinosaur, got the one dinosaur that's flying. What's the name of that one? Just want to make sure y'all paying attention. He said, no, that's going to be too easy for my son. Then he sees this puzzle of the world. He said, oh yeah, that's it right there. He takes the puzzle home, he gives it to the son and says, look, when you put this puzzle together, you will get your electronics back. Son sits down at the table, he rips the plastic off the puzzle, takes the top off the puzzle, dumps the puzzle pieces out, and he's going through the puzzle pieces. What's on the other side of a puzzle piece when you feel it? Just want to make sure y'all paying attention. So he's still in the cardboard on the side, and he sees the cardboard and sees something kind of look like a corner of an eye. So now the kid's curious, what's going on here? So he starts putting the puzzle together, flipping over, looking at it backwards. And as he's going through the puzzle, on the back side of the puzzle, he sees something like a finger. Next thing you know, the son starts putting the puzzle together backwards. Boom, boom, but after about 3 hours, he got the puzzle done. He runs in the father's room and says, hey, Pops, I'm done with the puzzle. Pops says, quit playing with me, man, and you ain't never done with that puzzle. He said, if I get up out this bed, it's gonna be a problem. He says, no, for real, Pops, I'm done with the puzzle. Pops said, all right, I'm gonna see. But I'm telling you, if you ain't done with this puzzle, it's gonna be a problem. Pops get up out the bed, he goes into the dining room, there it is, the world together. Pops happy now, he said, oh man, my son is smart, I got it. Man, how'd you grab him up, hugged him, gave him a little knuckle sandwich, said, hey man, you got to tell me, how'd you put this puzzle together so fast, because I'm going to tell all my friends about it. The son said, Pops, on the back side of the puzzle, there was a man. And when I put the man together, the world came together.
Whoa.
That's what you seen tonight. They put the puzzle, the pieces together, and their world came together, and now they serving. Remember, it's not about what you gather, it's about what you scatter. It's going to tell you the type of life that you have lived. Thank you all for coming out.